Like now the whole thing is a spiral, and it got to the point. Plus LA, it was too much, and I filed bankruptcy. And it got to the point. My mother, shout out to my mom. She had lupus. My mother's had lupus since she was 12 or 13, and she was going through a lot. And I'm in LA, not near her, stressing about that, and in a long distance relationship, stressing about that, houses. I'm like, and I just like, okay, I need to. Okay, I said, okay, God, you're breaking me down for a reason. And there's the thing, I always tell this story, like, sometimes when you're in the process of being broken down, well, I'll speak for me, I saw myself on the other side of it the whole time. I was like, ooh, when I come out of this. But I knew I wasn't done being broken down yet. Because you can't build a new building on bad foundation. You can't build a new person on bad foundation. Yes. So I literally had to wait for the demolition. And I was sitting like, here go another blow. But what kept me was my faith in God and the fact, my vision and faith in myself. And I was like, this ain't gonna take me down. But it was hard as hell. And I ended up, and I share this story publicly all the time. I filed bankruptcy. I ate that humble pie. I was like, okay, I don't think this is it for me for Hollywood, but I need to go home. And I moved back into my mother's basement. Thank God she had a basement that she had built out, made a little apartment she used to rent out, and she let me move down there. And I said, Mom, I gotta come home to your house, and I gotta just reset. I went back to the job I had before Lion King, humbling. But I'm never too proud to get a check. I like life and I like to eat.
I know that's me and you both. I like my life. Right.
I don't subscribe to the struggling actor life.
Yeah.
I may have had struggles, but I'm not like I have to struggle for my art. I don't believe in that.
Right.
So I believe in being excellent in all that you do.
Right.
So because I had that mindset, I was able to go back to that old day job, and they were happy to have me because I did excellent while I was there.
Right.
And so that was real. I carried so much shame and embarrassment around that because I was making good money. But the thing I had to tell myself was, my cast members who were on the show with me, they didn't have no bills other than being on the road.
Right.
I had 2 houses plus the apartment plus. I was just overextended to the point, and I was like, I just didn't make some smart decisions. Like I had good intentions, but I was overextended. And we're talking about the 2008 housing bubble when all that stuff was happening, and I had to reset. And I said, okay, God, and I just let God work on me. And that is when I delved deep into personal development, because I also knew I couldn't just wait on God.
Right.
Meaning, for anybody who gets
go there.
Weird.
She's going to explain it. Let her explain it. You see, I'm letting her explain it. Go ahead.
What I couldn't do, faith without actions
is dead.
You know that. So that's what I mean. I couldn't just be like, well, I got faith, it's going to change. So what you going to do for you? So while I'm going to be here praying and believing, I also know I have to take some steps.
And this ain't us. That's word. That's in the Bible. Faith without actions is death. It's exactly like you're saying.
Exactly.
You cannot, if you, God will help you, but He would help you meeting you halfway. He wants it for you, but He cannot want it more than you want it for
that
yourself.
Part. And that's what I understood. So when I say that, I'm always just like, okay, you're going to do your part. What do I need to do? And that's what I read every day, positive affirmations, books. Just books, music. I got private coaching in Atlanta. I was grateful to be loved on by my mother, that she gave me some space, and she didn't give me no time. I knew I just probably needed 3 months to just get myself together, get a job and then move out, because I was grown. I needed my own space. And that's what happened. I ended up reconnecting with the guy I dated, 15, 20 years prior, who I now married, broke up with the person who was long. It was just all this shift. And I ended up coming back to Los Angeles. I ended up booking maybe a year and a half after that, I booked a lead in a series regular role for ABC comedy. It was a pilot. The pilot didn't make it. It didn't get picked up. But after that, my managers were like, you have something. Have you thought about coming back to LA? We think we can use this momentum. And I got married, Had to wait another year or so to coax my husband into the idea.
Right.
And in 2017, we moved Super Bowl Sunday, to be exact. We got back to LA. And my husband left everything he knew, trusted in me and my talents. And the rest is history. I haven't stopped working since. But I had to go through that. And so you can be full of talent, but the life lessons that I gained when I hit record on the self-tape, or when you see me on your TV screen, just know it is rooted in life lessons and in some pain and joy and testimony. Like, so the reservoir of emotions that I have, these stories that I have, the things that I've experienced are always there. And that's what I know makes me a powerful actress on screen.
Amazing. Truly amazing. I like that.
And I'm not afraid to share it. There was a time where I carried shame around it. And what I do know, and I studied this from Brene Brown, who studies shame. And if you deal with shame and you haven't listened to Brene Brown or read any of her books, especially Daring Greatly, please do. But she talks about once you shine a light on shame, it has somewhere to hide. But it's when you want to keep those things dark, you're afraid of anyone finding out. We all got crap that we've been through and have dealt with. But once you shine the light on it, it takes the power away. You don't got to worry about nobody finding it out. Because if I'm talking about it all the time, we ain't blowing up my spot.
Right.
I know when I share my story, it's a testimony to somebody.
Right.
And that's what's been proven. The community that I built with my community called Hollywood Bound Actors was created because people was like, oh my God, this woman is just sharing it all. She's being that open and she looks like me. She's being honest. Oh, wow. And so now I get to transform lives, and this is ripple effect. And God uses me to speak to so many people. And when God says share that story, I share the story.
Right.
And I'm like, I ain't makeup one day, no makeup the next, a wig today, no wig tomorrow. Like God says show up, I show up. And I've seen lives be changed through this work, which fuels me in a whole another way. I don't want to get emotional, but like that is so exciting to me that so I get to live in my dream and sit in my purpose, and then I help other people do the same. It is amazing.
I always tell people, if you ever want to shame the devil, tell the truth. And I know
that
people say that it's an old saying that I get from my grandparents, but you know, the devil could be shame, as you said. It could be secrets, it could be lies, things that are being put out in the world about you. If you ever want to shame the devil or whatever it is, tell the truth. Tell your truth and own it. Because when you own it, you take away its power. Whatever power that thing had on you, you take away that power from it. So it no longer affects you. And so when something doesn't no longer affect you, people can no longer use it against you. It become a weapon that is not good to them. So what do? They drop it by the wayside. That's why I am so big on, I don't care what it is. If it's something that I'm scared of, if it's something that bothers me, I face it and I deal with it in that moment. And whatever comes from it, it just comes from it. Because here's the thing that people don't really, growing up, a lot of people didn't teach their kids, but I was taught this. There's no losses in life. There's no, people be like, that's the catch-22. No, the catch-22 is you live and you learn. That's really the catch-22, to live and learn. It's no, you're going to take that L. An L is a learning situation. No matter what you go through in life, you're going to learn something. So if you had to go through that again, if you were competing for something against someone, they only know what they did to win. And they're going to, 9 times out of 10, they're going to do that same exact thing again. But you know what you didn't do, you know what you did, and you know what you should have did. So 9 times out of 10, they're going to have a hard time competing against you because you got more from that situation than the winner actually got. And I even try to install that. I saw that in my son. I installed that in his children, baby Tatum. He said, BB, I'm scared. That's what you scared of. Whatever you scared of, we about to face it because we don't just scared around here. You know, and it's not teaching him to be tough. I guess it's teaching him to be tough, but it's about, for me, it was more about teaching him to take away that power. Even my little cousins, you know, I'm that person they come to, and when they are talking to me about things, I always tell them, take that power away. Don't be scared to take away the power, whether it's from a person or a thing. Take it away.
Yeah, that's true.
God gave you dominion for a reason, you know, and sometimes we, you know, don't always use it how we should.
Yeah.
But he made us to rule. So, you know, in hearing your story and hearing like how you had all these properties and, you know, you had all these things going on and your castmates didn't, heavy is the head that wears the crown. But that was because you was the queen in that situation. See, they couldn't say they own property.
Yeah.
At 23 years old. I can relate to that because I own properties young too, but most people in their 20s is not thinking about purchasing properties and taking on that responsibility, and you did.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, it's learning lesson. Like, and the lessons I learned then, they're learned, you know? So everything, again, contributes to our makeup, so no regrets.
Let's talk about The Fallout.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's on HBO Max, and it really deals with, unfortunately, something that's become all too familiar is school shootings, and the after effects of how that impacts students, faculty. We don't often hear about that. We hear about these horrible school shootings, and then we hear about, unfortunately, another one somewhere else. And so it was an indie film that did well. I mean, to be honest, we shot it in the middle of COVID in Los Angeles, and it just started just winning all these awards at film festivals, and I forgot about it, honestly. I played Mrs. Victor, which is the teacher to the lead actress, and, you know, she's one of my favorite students, and one day she just starts acting funny, but it's because of the effects of the school, and she's just trying to deal, you know, so she starts doing drugs and just acting really out of character. But, you know, I was happy to be a part of this film because when I didn't see this full thing until I saw it on HBO Max, like last month. And it was such a beautiful, it was so well done. I see why it won so many awards like at South by Southwest and film festivals. And I was so happy it made it to the mainstream HBO Max because it triggered me too, because it was like, gosh, just when you're trying to get over it, who's talking about the PTSD these have on us? I mean, some of us get PTSD just from hearing the news about it, but when you're actually going through it, the teachers, how do they still come to show up and teach at these schools? And how do the kids even focus and study when they're trying to process this? Or they've lost classmates,
right?
You know? And just trying to understand that, and you're having now drills on, not about tornadoes or hurricanes, it's active shooters,
right?
You know, so I'm very, very excited to be a part of the film. It was really well done.
I'm so glad that you touched on PTSD, because I think that people tend to think that only military soldiers suffer from that, but it's not true. Civilians, which is us, normal everyday citizens, we suffer from it too. You know, from your upbringing to things that may have happened to you, living life, you have, they call it post-traumatic stress disorder for a reason, because it's something that happens after something happens to you, right? And it's how you process it and how your body deals with it. Like, it's so much that goes into when you experience something. It's not just, oh, I experienced this. No, that experience can affect you mentally, can affect you physically, it affects you emotionally, can affect you financially. You know, it affects you on so many levels. It's how do you deal with that trauma? So I'm so happy that you touched on that. So, you know, I know I've had you sitting here for a while with me. I know you have like a whole lot of other things that you could be doing.
It's a good conversation though, because we've been talking about a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I'm so honored, honestly. I'm so honored to have this beautiful spirit sit and just talk to me and, you know, give me some of her blessings of that.
Looking magnet energy.
Exactly. So, listen, look, exactly. Right?
Say what?
Right. So I want to ask you 3 things, right? Well, I'm probably going to ask you more, but it's 3 things pertaining to a woman. And I'm going to break this woman down into different levels. This is what I like to do.
Okay.
Okay? If there's one thing you could say to a little girl that's watching you right now and is watching this, what would you say to her?
Ooh, little girl. To the little girl watching me right now, I would say, dream big and have fun doing it. Dream big and have fun doing it. Doesn't matter if anyone understands or sees the vision, that's okay. It's your vision. It's like wearing a pair of glasses. You can wear my glasses and you're like, oh, those glasses are so strong. But then you wear your glasses and the vision is just right. So the same thing with all your dreams. Dream big, even if no one's ever done it before you, even if you don't quite understand why you have the idea, just keep dreaming, keep doing that, and have fun. I think the have fun part is really crucial because sometimes we can take our dreams so serious and we're so focused, and especially if you don't live in an environment that maybe feels it's the most supportive, it's important that you are your biggest cheerleader. You are your biggest believer. So that's the main thing I would say. I mean, I was an only child for 14 years. I talked to myself all the time. I played every game by myself. You know, my mother would be like, "Who are you talking to?" And I'm like, "You know, it's just me talking to me." Right. You know,
my mom always said it's okay to talk to yourself as long as you don't answer yourself. So
I might have answered myself too back then. You know, but I would say that I think sometimes people like to stifle creativity and things they don't understand, especially adults. Because if we don't have the proof, we don't know how it's possible. And a lot of adults can operate out of fear and limiting thinking, limited thoughts. And because they don't understand, I mean, I dealt with that growing up, not from my mother, but from people around me. They didn't personally know a successful actor, so they're like, you should have a plan B, you should have because this is hard. All they know is that it's hard, and they could not do it. So their fears have been projected onto me, and thank goodness, I just believed in myself so much.
Right.
We would not be sitting here if that were not the case.
That's true.
So that's what I would say to a little girl.
And kids operate from a space of optimism all the time. They're like 1,000% on optimism all day, every day. Yes. They think they can do everything because my little one Tatum, baby Tatum, he wants to be a superhero. He wants to be a doctor.
I'm sure you can't tell him nothing. It's all facts.
Oh no, listen, I have video footage with him yesterday. Ass up, like Dr. Tatum hitting me on, kicking my leg, like, yeah, I got reflexes. Right. You know, let me check your ear. And his whole little, and I feed that. I love to feed that with him. You know, we just bought him a tent, and it's a NASA tent. You know, and he wants a spaceship. You know, the outfit that they wear. I'm like, okay, we get you that too. I told my son, you're gonna take all this to your house. Mm-hmm. You know, and so like I love to because he operates from that space and it's so innocent. And when he makes a mistake, he goes, I'm sorry. And if you don't accept it, he said, but I said I'm sorry. Like, what's your problem? Yeah, like so he goes right back to we're friends. So he operates from that space of optimism and positivity and love. And people don't, like I said, kids and adults, they operate totally differently, right? So I completely get that. So I appreciate you saying that. So it lets that little girl at home know that it's okay to be you. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to dream and operate from that space and be positive. It's okay. Absolutely. You know?
It's okay.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So now, what would you say to the teenage girl that is watching you? And speaking from when you were her at one point, what would you tell her? Because she doesn't know herself yet.
Right. Well, I'll say this to you, teenage version. All the things that you are questioning will be the things that you are celebrated for. But you have to be the first one to celebrate them. So I don't care if it's your body shape, the way you walk, the way you talk, right? Just know that also everyone around you at this time is also going through the same thing. So people will mask it and deflect and point your flaws, perceived flaws out because they don't want to deal with their own. Right? So I will say, know that one day the things that you are still trying to figure out will be the things you will grow to love, and you can start loving those things now. And know that nothing is permanent right now. I know at this stage, everything feels really serious. Everything is really dramatic. Everything that, that first love, that first everything feels the stakes feel so high. And I want to honor you for that and know that they are real to you and they feel how they feel in this moment. And that's true to you. But just know it's all temporary. Everything is temporary in life. And as long as you know that, that's something I wish someone would have told me. It would have gave me a little release. Because I know in the moment it feels very serious. There's a lot of emotions, but just know that you will always be loved because of who you are, not in spite of. Well, that's the goal at least. And if you find yourself being in circles or with people who don't appreciate you because of who you are, then those are not your people.
Right.
You should never feel like you're being tolerated. Okay.
But I find toleration an insult.
Yeah.
I say toleration is an insult.
I agree.
Like I don't deal with toleration of any sort. I'd rather be around people who celebrate.
Exactly. So just know that. Just know it. All of your friends are trying to figure it out, even if they act like they're not. They are all trying to figure it out. So give yourself the grace and the space to do that, and look in the mirror every day and tell yourself, "I love you." And I'm perfect as I am. Yeah.
And I would say less is more. Sometimes when you think you don't have to show everything, the little you show is more than enough. Mm-hmm. If your shirt is fitted, your pants need to be loose. If your pants is fitted, your shirt need to be loose. Right. At least that's what my grandma would say, right? So everything ain't for everybody to see. So, less is more. And I would also say to her that, again, rejection is God protection and redirection. You're never going to miss anything. Anything God has in store for you. It may not come when you want it to come, but it will come.
Absolutely.
Now, talking to that woman out there, right? In the world, trying to figure out herself. Doesn't feel like anything is going right. Nothing she does is right. Well, maybe it is. But what do you think?
I feel like I talk to her all the time. with some of my students that I mentor, like I said, I mentor so many women of all ages, and it doesn't matter what I find. It doesn't matter if the woman is 25 or 75. A lot of the insecurities, it's still the same. Know this. Again, everything is temporary. So when we find ourselves in this moment of things don't seem to be going as we hoped, I invite you to go within. Oftentimes the biggest transformation is the internal transformation. A lot of actors will come to me and say, "Christine, I just want to figure out, I'm not booking. I don't know what's going on. I ain't booked in years or months or whatever the case is. Tell me, do I need a new ring light? And I'll be like, I will bet money. It has nothing to do with your tech. It has all to do with what's happening on the inside, your internal CPU.
Right.
So I would say go within. What are you not dealing with? What are you holding shame, guilt around? I guarantee there's a part of you that is lacking confidence in an area, right? Which is all rooted around something else. I find, like in my book, I talk about fear and going over many types of fear that a lot of not just actors, people deal with. Fear of success, fear of not having enough, fear of competition, fear of judgment, fear of missing out, fear of time running out. All these things. Fear of success and fear of failure are cousins. Right? Because that could be the thing that's stopping you. Fear of success. Well, I booked 2 jobs. What if I don't book it? If I keep booking, people gonna think. What are people gonna think? They're gonna think I'm too good for them. They're gonna think this. They're gonna think that. And so you have all these notions about what people will think once you're successful, that you sabotage your own success so that you stay safe, so you stay loved. At the core of it is we all want to be loved. And we don't want to lose love. Fear of failure. Oh gosh. Well, okay, I booked 2 gigs. What if it doesn't happen again? What will people say then? They'll think it was just a fluke. I didn't have it to begin with. They said I should have just got a real job. And then you sabotage there so that you don't even have to deal with the potential things that will cause any failure in your life. So both leave you paralyzed. So it's so important to understand, like, if you get, but you won't understand this until you get honest with yourself. If you're dealing with competition, some of you feel like time is running out. I'm 45, I'm 50, I'm 60. It's time. You are at the right time, at the right place, and all your life decisions and all your life choices have gotten to where you are today and have made you who you are. They are now part of your makeup, and they will impact everything that you do. So my big advice to this person, this woman, is to go within. If something doesn't feel right in your life, if you don't like how life is being handed to you, understand that you have the power to create a life by design, which means you have to first, going back to talking about vision boards, you have to first decide what's the life that you would like to experience, and then take the steps so that you can experience those things. If you say, I want to go to Africa, I don't know why I can't get to Africa. Well, have you even priced the tickets?
Right.
Do you even know how much it costs to go to Africa?
Right.
How many days you want to stay? Well, how much are the plane? How much are the hotels in Africa?
Right.
You don't know the answers, so figure those answers out before you think it just can't be done.
Right. Or you can't do something.
Right. You don't even know.
You haven't tried. Right. Right.
But that's how you build a life by design, not by default.
Ooh, I like that. Say that again. Y'all hear that? No, seriously, say that again.
Yes, that is how you live a life by design, not by default. Default living is waiting for things to happen to you and then you react to whatever has happened to you. Life by design says, I want to go to Africa one day. I don't know how. I don't know. I want to go to Africa in 2 years. Okay, well, how? And then it's me reverse engineering and reverse planning and being like, okay, the trip I actually want, not the one I'm going to settle for, the trip I want, I find out it's going to cost me $6,289. And I want to go in 2 years. Now I got a plan.
Right.
How am I going to get my $6,289? Is it
like
side hustle? Is it doing something, babysitting on the side? I don't care what it is. Borrowing the money? I don't know. But now I actually am planning. So I'm using the example of Africa as one thing, but what about the job you want, the man you want, the woman you want, the life, the house you want? If you don't see it in your mind's eye, look, it's like you going to meeting somebody who does construction and you just see somebody laying bricks. What you building? I don't know. Well, what do you mean? I'm just putting bricks. But what is it? Is it a house? Is it a closet? Don't know. You would be like, this man crazy. He don't even know what he building.
Right.
Same things with your life. What bricks are you laying every day?
Mm-hmm.
I need to know that I'm building this house. Well, that's gonna be my bathroom, and that's gonna be my shoe closet. Or that's my business. That is my company that I'm building. That is the acting career that I want. Brick by brick, I gotta know what the end goal is. That's why we lay out a blueprint, and the blueprint starts to appear. So I don't subscribe to just waiting and hoping and letting life happen to me. I figure out what I want, and I figure out how can I get this, and I don't have to have all the answers.
Right.
I just have to have the vision.
Right. And another thing about that analogy you just gave is that sometimes you can be laying that foundation and you don't know what it's for, but it's about laying it, getting the foundation strong and having that support, that's there so that whatever you put on it can sustain itself and stand, on its own. And that foundation is you. Sometimes we need to get ourselves right and together. Because sometimes we're not together, because you touched on the piece about relationships, and I think that as women, we expect things of men that we can't do ourselves. We can't give it to ourselves and we can't give it to them, but we want them to give it to us. But it starts with you, because like I teach my son, people treat you how you treat yourself. So if you treat yourself well, people have no option but to come into your life and treat you well. You know what I'm saying? They can't treat you less than you treat yourself. So everything that you want from another person, it starts with you.
Absolutely.
Even with me, I'm single in Atlanta and I'm dating. And when I'm dating guys, I always tell them, like, you can't treat me less than how I treat myself. So if you coming over here, you got to come correct.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not her. I don't know who she is,
right,
but I know I'm not her. So if you come and sit at this table, you got to understand two things. You were sitting at the table with the queen, and you need to decide who you are. Are you a king or you a knight? Because either way, you're going to need a queen. See, I'm a queen. I can make a knight a king.
Come on.
You know? And you're a king. And as a king, you're going to need a queen to stand beside you. I'm the most powerful piece on the chessboard.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, I can make a pawn a king. I can make any of those pieces a king. So understand, when you sit at my table, who you sitting with, you know? Thank you so much for dropping these jewels. I feel like it was so needed. I said I'm in love. I'm in love with your spirit. You have such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful spirit.
So do you.
Thank
that's
you.
Why that goes back to that magnet energy we talked about earlier.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So you like asking about the questions, like we can just talk.
Right.
Because you can see, like, once we start talking, it's a wrap.
Because I think for me, guys, is being in this industry and growing up in this industry, I don't shy away from who my family is. Everybody knows my family. I can't go nowhere in Georgia without somebody knowing a member of my family. Whether it's entertainment, whether it's politics, it does education, it doesn't matter. Like, people know my family, right? And so for me, growing up in this business, I feel like, and just seeing how things play out for the Black community and for us, people tell our stories so different than what it really is. And we need to start telling our own stories. We used to be the world's greatest storytellers, you know, and we would keep things going down the line. And so now the narrative of what Black culture looked like, what being black is being painted by people who are not us. So when I go into these interviews and you guys see me interviewing people, I'm going to tell you this: you're not going to see gossip. I'm not a gossip blogger. I'm not none of that. I am a entertainment correspondent, host, and I don't just do entertainment. I will correspond on any type of news, you know. But when it comes to the Black community, I'm extremely protective. I want our stories to be told in a positive light. I want you to come on my platform and be able to talk about who Christine is, what Christine stands for, what Christine is doing business by, so we can feed into your business. You know what I'm saying? I want Christine's story to be about Christine. So if you're looking for gossip, you got TMZ.
Right. You got the options.
Right. You got the Shade Room.
Right.
You know, you got all these other vloggers and everybody else that's going on. I'm going to let them have that medium and that platform to do whatever it is that they want. But if you come and you watch something that Bree Sobers is doing, what you're going to see is you're going to see true, authentic journalism. You're going to see true, authentic hosting and talking, and what a conversation looks like, you know, and see people for who they are. And that's what I want to do with my platform. You know, when I came on to Impact Atlanta Magazine, I just came on and I was doing all the red carpet, and you know, our chief editor, Terry, she was like, Bree, you could do so much more. And we got the entertainment portion, you know, and I was like, well, I'm trying to build my show. And she was like, okay, well, you can still do your show. Yes, ma'am, I'm with that because you're good.
Yeah.
You know, you've always been, she's been knowing me since I was a little girl. She was like, okay, so how about we also do your show here with us? And she gave me also her platform to be able to bring